This week on Hooligan Nation, the return of Kiss or the end of the original Kiss? Well, if it's the end of the original Kiss, what a way they went out. Yes, it's got a disco feel, but so what? This is just a good Kiss album. We review Dynasty, and here's a hint. We both love it. Stay tuned, because you got
nothing to lose. What is my charisma?
That's beautiful.
Wanted the best. Well, they retired. So you got two dudes in a garage.
Talking Kiss. Welcome back to Hooligan Nation, a Kiss-Centric podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Rocco.
And we're here for another week of fun and games. I see you changed your room around.
I did.
What's with the broken guitar?
That's my favorite Paul Stanley guitar.
Oh, is that the shattered glass guitar?
You guessed it. Absolutely.
Dude, I'm starting to get a little jealous. I am. I mean, you have
now wait a
Gene
minute.
Simmons.
You got the pinball machine.
Yeah. But you got the Gene Simmons axe bass.
I do. I do.
You got Ace's Washburn guitar that was only really seen once. And you have the shattered glass guitar. And on top of that, you have Bruce Kulick's radioactive guitar. And I got Vinny.
Yes, you got Vinny.
I got Vinny.
Rock on, baby.
Mm-hmm. My guitar is currently transitioning.
Next subject. We can get back to why I'm excited, though. You would like to know why I'm excited?
I'd love to know why you're excited.
Because we're doing Dynasty this week.
Oh, we are.
Dynasty is my favorite album.
For anybody that doesn't know, this week we will be doing a Dynasty album review. And I think it's pretty safe to say we're both kind of excited about it. Absolutely. More excited than I expected to be. So you got anything you want to add to last week's episode of What Ifs?
Yeah. The one thing that I got out of doing the What If, after we finished the episode, I could think about another 10 what ifs. It's a subject that'll never end with Kiss. And I'm sure that there are many people that would can put comments in there and think of other things too. Because there's different lanes that they could take for so many different situations that they've had through their history.
You only thought of 10?
That's where I started. But I thought it was a good episode. I mean, it makes you think. It really does make you think. It also makes you think on how many decisions they had to make decisions on that they may have like reconsidered or wanted to reconsider.
I have at least 300 more what ifs banked up in my head. I'll forget 297 of them, but I had should say at least 300 more.
I'm glad we thought of it, though. It's a really cool idea.
I think the title was going to be the what ifs are endless. And they are endless. I mean, you can what if the hell out of Kiss.
Throw you another what if, just to kind of sum up that week, that episode. What if instead of Ace showing up with two different colored sneakers, what if it was Vinny?
I feel as though
I just thought of that.
Ace showing up with two different color sneakers is not what got him the job.
Yeah, you're probably right on that one.
I mean, I guess it's possible, but I don't think it was what took him over the top.
On that note, that's the kind of stuff that What If brings you. So if you think of some cool shit, definitely put it in the comments.
Absolutely. And the comments are up.
Do we have any shouted out loud?
Speaking of that, let's go with the shouted out loud of all shouted out loud, shall we?
Why? Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. So this shouted out loud comes from Mike Lipshansky, and he commented on Paul Stanley's 1978 solo album review, and he asks the question, Where do you think Mark Slaughter would be without Vinnie Vincent?
My response to that was, I think I'm going to sum it up. I did put a comment to go back and give my opinion on that. I think Mark Slaughter is extremely talented. I think he would have ended up being successful, but musicians have a way of networking, and I think I said something like, connections never hurt. So, but I mean, if you have drive, ambition, and talent, and yet a little bit of luck and some connections, it goes far. So I'm sure Vinnie Vincent connected with him didn't hurt him.
Well, my answer to that comment was Mark Slaughter would be right about where he is, since, it's how many years later? 30 some years later. Mark Slaughter is still in the business. Slaughter is still an active band that tours. I think Mark Slaughter did pretty good. I mean, I can give a little credit to Vinny. Can't give Vinny credit for Mark Slaughter's longevity. I can't give credit for Slaughter's longevity. I mean, other than a Kiss Expo here and there and a couple other things, nobody's really seen or heard from Vinny. And the other thing is, I think it's pretty commonly known that Chrysalis Records went to Mark Slaughter and Dana Strum and offered them Vinny's record contract, and they took it, and that's how Slaughter was born.
Can you throw out the little nugget about Dana Strum for the folks who may not know?
That Dana Strum, I believe this. I believe that Dana Strum brought Mark Slaughter to Vinnie Vincent, and what makes that interesting is Dana Strum brought Randy Rhoads to Ozzy Osbourne. So
Yeah, I thought that was neat.
Dana Strum's a pretty good go-between guy.
Well, it's another thing that kind of ties up the Vinny thing too, right? Because it's all about networking and timing. So
yeah,
that was,
So maybe the better question would be, where would Mark Slaughter be without Dana Strum?
Things that make you go,
On that note, do you have any news?
I do. So I'm always getting the algorithm stuff on YouTube, and if you follow or if you've heard of Ben Shapiro, he does like political content on YouTube. He's very popular. Has a big.
We don't do politics here.
This is not about politics. This is what his platform is. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because he presents the evolution of a rock star. Gene Simmons, Kiss Unmasked. A good interview with very little of the shtick that Gene does. He has very strong opinions. Some of them are political, but what I liked about the interview, and if you're a Kiss fan, if you're a Gene Simmons fan, he was more straightforward and conversational, less shtick, less goofing. He does some of that, but not a lot. And he just gives some worldly opinions that he's had throughout the years about different things that are kind of going on. So I thought it was a very good interview, and I definitely recommend it.
Did I just hear you say Gene Simmons has a lot of opinions about a lot of things?
Yeah, but it was a different twist. I mean, listen, by now, if you're a Kiss fan, how many crazy interviews have you heard with Gene? It was a different style interview, at least in my opinion of it. Remember I gave you that take on Paul Stanley on the Joe Rogan? It was a little different and out of character, kind of laid back and straightforward. This is kind of the same kind of way, because Gene just went on what's his name? He just went on I can't think of the guy's name now. And he was very much character, and different things he has to say. This was just more of like a conversational, straightforward type of interview. I thought it was, like I said, I enjoyed it.
I was going to bring something different up for my news segment, but you brought that up and it reminded me of something, and I want to bring this up. It's not a new interview or anything, but again, the algorithm on YouTube, Gene Simmons interview with Joy Behar came up, and I had seen it whenever it was. It's probably 6, 7 years ago. And it, for anybody that's, um, for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, Gene Simmons and Shannon Tweed went on some Joy Behar show. And they were, I don't even know what the point, I think it was probably Family Jewels. But Joy Behar, right in front of Shannon, just throws Gene under the bus and brings up all the past women. And Shannon gets mad, and you can kind of tell it's not an act. And Shannon walks out on the interview. She takes off the mic. She set him up and she did him dirty in the middle. And you could tell that Gene says that right to her. And you can tell that Gene is annoyed, and rightfully so. He should be. And I hope to God that if we're doing this podcast years from now, that we don't pull any shit like that with any guests that we have on. That's how you do business dirty to me.
There's a certain point, and her style, regardless of what you believe with what you agree with her politically, doesn't make a difference. There's a certain point where she feels it's her job to get somebody riled up.
I think it makes for bad television, and I don't know what actually aired and if all that aired or if they edited it out. But that's just a bad job, and it looks bad. It looked bad to me. And look, I'm all for I'll throw anybody under the bus, including myself. And if Gene does something or says something stupid, I'll call him out on it, just like Paul, just like Ace, just like Peter, just like Bruce isn't going to say anything stupid. But just like all of them, like the truth is the truth, whether I'm a fan or I'm not. But that just was straight out doing him dirty.
I think it's safe to say he was spending the night on the couch that night.
Well, what he ended up to do not long after that was he ended up getting married. You know, it's not a judgment. It's not a judgment thing on either side. It's an observational thing of, like, you just did that dude dirty on television. And not only that, but it's out and it's everywhere for the history of time. And look, Gene says some dumb things sometimes, and you can tell that he does it because he thinks he's funny. But in that circumstance, honestly, I think it was more disrespectful of Joy Behar to say it was Shannon sitting right there than it was to say it to Gene. That's how I took it. And if I had any respect for Joy Behar, I lost it. Any music you're listening to?
Yeah, it's actually kind of comical because, there's no secret, I'm a Motley Crue fan.
You are?
Yeah. But I listened to a song. I don't know from Spotify. It was a random song. I didn't realize that this was connected, and I probably should have. But Prayers for the Damned from 6 a.m. I'm going to sound like an idiot, but I had no idea that Nikki Sixx had a band that was active from 2007 to 2021. I didn't know he did that. So I kind of dove into some of the stuff, and some of the songs are pretty good. But the Prayers for the Damned song was really good. So that's been listening to that. And there's a band that I used to like a lot. They do Summertime Girl, Y&T. So I've been listening to some old stuff. I'll listen to new stuff, then I'll try to do like a dive. What band have I not listened to in a long time? Mean Streak is another good song of theirs, Open Fire. So Y&T. But it was kind of comical, the whole 6 a.m. thing. But that's what I got for music I've been listening to.
Yeah, I remember the whole 6 a.m. thing. It was pretty good. I wasn't blown away by it, but it was pretty good. They had a couple good songs. And as far as Y&T, I loved Y&T back in the day. I can't say that I listen to it a lot, but the two songs you brought up are the ones that I'll throw on sometimes.
You know what's kind of cool about Summertime Girl? I don't know if you feel the same way. Like, you know, music makes you put you back into a memory of the past. Like that Summertime Girl song, I just think about like 85. I don't know when it came out, but I remember like just 85, 88, 70, like just around that time, it just made you think about how cool the 80s were.
True, true. The 80s were a cool time, but maybe it's just because it was kind of our time.
Well, yeah, I do
I don't
favor
know.
it.
But not to foreshadow too much, but I've been giving a lot of thought to the 80s and how important MTV was to music in the 80s and Headbangers Ball. Hint, hint, something's coming in the future about MTV in the 80s. Stay tuned. Strap up your seatbelt for that one. It's right now, it's cooking.
Absolutely.
It's cooking between my ears, so we'll see how that turns out.
And I guess you can imagine how much content can come from that.
Oh my God. For my music that I'm listening to, it's more going to be music that I'm watching this week. I love documentaries. Uh, Eddie Trunk loves documentaries. I get a lot of my documentaries from listening to Eddie Trunk's show. He brought up this documentary on yacht rock. It's on HBO. It's called Yacht Rock, a documentary. It's really good. Pertains to Kiss in the fact that some of the artists that were interviewed in the documentary have been linked to Kiss. And if you're our age, I think one of your guilty pleasures has to be at least one yacht rock song. And I got a couple of them. I can't call myself a yacht rock fan, but I do like some yacht rock songs. And it pretty much explains really the history of yacht rock. And what was the most entertaining to me was how the term yacht rock came to be. I'm not going to give it away. Watch the documentary. It's on HBO. If you watch that kind of stuff on platforms, it's on the Max platform. It's really, even if you don't like yacht rock, it's really well done, and it was interesting and it was informative.
And you clued me in on that. And
Start
I
over.
you had suggested it for me to watch, and I really, really enjoyed it, especially being that one of my favorite guitarists of all time was featured in a lot of spots there, Steve Lukather from Toto. Um, I think I touched on this before.
Or Steve Lukather.
Lukather, I always say his name wrong, but
I
you,
know.
you get the point. My Rockaway coming out again, but the thing that I found really fascinating about it is so many of these you have they go ghost artists that show up on albums and all these different things that pop up on albums. So many of these yacht rock performers were on so many different future albums, like Van Halen, Balance. I think he's on Balance. The band itself, Toto, the drummers, I forget their names, but the drummer and they're like brothers. They were on so many different albums. Like a lot of these session guys came from like the origination of yacht rock performers.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
I appreciate the tip. It was a really good documentary.
yeah, I thought it was good. And I like music I mean, I like all kinds of documentaries, but I like music documentaries even if they're not about music that I normally listen to. I can usually pick up, one or two songs from it. In the case of the Yacht Rock documentary, I have been known to blast Christopher Cross in my car when nobody's with me. I've also been known to blast Michael McDonald in my car when nobody's with me. So I didn't really pick up anything new. I'm not a big Toto fan. I wasn't before. I'm still not. And since we're on that, I got two more things that I just want to throw out there. We are currently planning Victor Ruiz's return to an upcoming episode. So for all you guys that are fans of Signals from Mars or fans of Victor's, we are currently planning to have him back within the next, I don't know, month or two. So look for that.
If you're not familiar with Victor, don't forget he was on our the Hall of Fame episode.
And the other thing is, I just wanted to say, look, I'm a big fan of Three Sides of the Coin podcast. They're part of the reason why we're here today. They kind of inspired me to do something like this. So big shout out to them. They just celebrated their 600th episode. To put that into perspective, I think we're filming episode like 18 today. So we're gonna have to be around for a while to celebrate 600. Check them out. I think they do a really good podcast. I like watching them. I usually watch them on their YouTube channel. So shout out to them. Congratulations, Mark, Mike, Lisa, and Tommy. You guys do a great job. With that being said, how would you like to dive in headfirst into Dynasty?
Let's do it.
So Dynasty was released May 23rd, 1979. It's recorded at Electric Lady Studio and the Record Plant, both in New York City. It's 39 minutes and 19 seconds long. It was released by Casablanca Records, and it was produced by Vinnie Poncia. There were two singles released. I Was Made for Loving You and Sure Knows Something. It was certified platinum in the United States. Additional musicians, Vinnie Poncia played keyboards, percussion, and backing vocals. And for those of you that don't know this, Peter Criss only played the drums on one song, Dirty Livin'. Anton Fig plays drums for the rest of the record. Quick funny little story that I've heard. Again, it's not easy to fact check these things, but what I heard was Vinnie Poncia produced Peter Criss's solo record, and when it was time for Kiss to record a new record, Peter Criss refused involvement in the record unless Vinnie Poncia produced it. So the rest of Kiss gave in to Peter and brought Vinnie Poncia in as the producer. And then Vinnie Poncia promptly said that Peter Criss could not play the drums on the record because he wasn't good enough. And they brought Anton Fig in. So if that isn't karma, I'm really not sure what is.
What was that you said about Peter Criss? I'll show you. I'll kill me or something like that. How'd you say that? That's Peter being Peter.
It's funny because that I'll show you, I'll kill me thing, that could be said of Peter. It could be said of Ace. Definitely could be said of Vinny. They've had their moments of I'll show you, I'll kill me. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. It was an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, it was definitely.
The album cover is a great album cover. It's a good change up from album artwork, I think, which I like that too, but it's a good change up. There really isn't anything different with the makeup that I can see. Like they hadn't changed anything. But that's really all I got for album artwork. Hey, Kiss Army, we work hard on this podcast and try to give you the best content possible. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Also, the podcast is now on all the podcast platforms. So please like and follow us there and give us some 5-star reviews. It really helps us out.
And while you're there, let us know if there's any Kiss subjects that you would like us to cover in future episodes. We thank you for being part of the Hooligan community.
And now, songs.
Okie dokie. And before I dive into the songs, I just wanted to say one of the things that I really like about this album is that the vocals are spread around. You got 3 from Ace, you got 3 from Paul, you got 2 from Gene, and you got 1 from Peter. So, and I think I told you before, there's no skippy songs on this one. There's nothing I skip. There's nothing I skip. But you want to start with the first one? I was made.
No, let's start with the last one.
Okay, the last one is. It was just an expression that you were supposed to just let me go.
Rock and roll.
All right. So the first song is actually one of my favorite legendary Kiss songs of all time for a lot of reasons. A lot of memories to this song. I Was Made for Loving You. Written by Paul, Vinnie Poncia, Desmond Child. Paul does the vocals. You may be able to share remembering this memory. One of my vivid memories of this is we were so pumped up after the concert was over. We're walking into the parking lot, and me and my sister are singing "I Was Made for Loving You," the chorus. And Dave, I think Dave was there, Mike was there. We had a big crew. I forget what tour it even was. I just remember that song, the epitome of that memory, because me and my sister were singing that together in harmony in the parking lot. So the actual song itself, I love the vocal harmonies. It's got a great intro throughout the song. There's a bass riff that pretty much carries the whole song. Great arrangement, and the chorus is great. There's a lot of greatness to this song, in my opinion.
Two things that I really like about this song. They changed the sound for the live version, and Ace put a very good live version solo in it. I like the studio version, but it's a little too much disco for me. The live version is a much better version. But funny enough, it is the #1 song on Spotify for Kiss. I believe it's had over 1 billion plays. So,
Really?
yeah, technically, it's Kiss's quote unquote biggest song.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, so you take that for what it is. I mean, I do not think that it's Kiss's best song. Of course, it's up there, but I guess the masses love the song.
Well, I mean, for me, I don't. Do you remember that memory? Like for me, the
No.
song has a lot of greatness to it, but that memory, that specific memory in the parking lot, coming out, being pumped up from just seeing them live, like it sticks with me. So there's additional reasons why I love that song.
No, dude, I have too many head injuries to remember things like that.
All right, so the second song we have is 2000 Man. It's a Rolling Stones cover that Ace does. I love this song. It's cheesy, but it's one of my favorite songs that Ace does. It's got funny lyrics. I enjoy the tune. Like I said, it's kind of a goofball song, but it's a fun song for me. I've always liked it. 2000 Man.
Yeah, I like that. That pretty much sums that song up great. It's a fun song. It's not a serious song in any way. I'm all right with it. I think it's probably Ace's third best song on this record to me. And I know we've said this 100 times, but I like the unplugged version the best.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely favor acoustic a lot because I'm an acoustic player, so I definitely enjoy that. All right, so then we go to number 3. This is the epitome of the disco song on their album, but I love this song. It's one of my favorite Kiss songs. Sure Know Something. It was written by Paul and Vinnie Poncia. Paul does the vocals. It's got awesome bass tone throughout. What you call it? Vocal harmonies, and the chorus is great. It's a great song. It's like I'm sure there's a lot of Kiss fans that like are turned off by it, but I've always loved it. For me, it's a great song.
I love the song. I guess the bass line kind of says disco, but I don't. I would say that I Was Made for Loving You is more disco than Sure Know Something. To me, I just think it's a great song.
Well, you bring up a good point because a lot of people, there's people who debate if it's a disco album or it's not a disco album. The way you just described that there, those two songs basically tell you it's the epitome of a disco album for Kiss, because those two songs are very disco-esque. Is that a word? I don't know. But anyway,
Disco-esque? I don't know. If it's not a word, I'll add it into the dictionary, and then we're just going to have you put out your own dictionary.
okay, we could do that.
To me, when Kiss danced with disco, and they did it a couple times, it basically came down to turning the bass up, changing the sound of the drums, and changing the production to be a little flatter, I guess. That was, to me, that was kind of how they went disco. Vinny Poncia produces Dynasty, and then he produces Unmasked, and you can hear that, at least I can hear that he turned up the dial on the disco much more for Unmasked than he did for Dynasty. And after you hear Kiss play I Was Made for Loving You live, it makes me want to hear the rest of the songs on Dynasty and Unmasked live to see what they would sound like with the arrangements changed, with the, with for lack, look, I'm not a musician, I'm not a producer, I sure as hell don't know what I'm talking about, but with what Kiss does with I Was Made for Loving You live, I'd like to see what they could do with the rest of these songs live. Or for that matter, I would love Frankenstein to get a hold of both of these records and see if he can undisco them a little bit. In the case of Sure Know Something, I don't really know that I would want him to change anything, but like the other songs, Dirty Livin', for instance, there's that synthesizer in it that I can do without. Like there's just certain things that just aren't for me, I guess.
Again, this is all like preference, right? So
Absolutely, it's all
it's
preference.
so like for me, like remember I told you I said I liked it even more when I listened to it again. I tried to be more critical of it, but I actually like the way the arrangements were done. It just shows how we have different lanes, for the stuff we like from Kiss, and we agree on a lot, most of it, but there's some different lanes, and the arrangements on this and the way the production value on a lot of this stuff I really really enjoy, and they're all very different songs.
Don't get me wrong. I think you hit it perfectly. Dynasty is a fun record. I don't know how much fun the band had making it. History tells us that they were pretty much in turmoil at the time, but it's a fun record to listen to. In the case of Dynasty, I think they were moving into the disco era and they were trying to chase what was popular. And in some cases, it worked really well.
So Dirty Livin'
Doesn't work well.
written by
Doesn't
Peter.
work well.
Stan Pendridge is also the writer of it. Peter does the sing. You don't like his vocals in this?
No, it's not the vocals that I have a problem with. It's the production. It's the I'm going to create a word. It's the disco sizing of this song.
I'm going to throw you a curveball. My opinion on this, and I don't think it's going to change how you look at it, but honestly, if Peter did songs like Dirty Livin' throughout his entire album on the solo album, it would have climbed right behind Paul.
That's not saying a whole lot, though.
I like Paul's album. Paul's album wasn't bad. We both agreed kind of that Gene's album was a little bit better, in our opinion, right? But Dirty Livin', again, there's some things to not like about it, but I like the song, and if most of the songs were done in that style, other than the Vegas stuff and all the different multiple singers and like just the lounge act stuff. I would have enjoyed his solo album a lot more if it was done in that vein.
If there were 10 Dirty Living songs on Peter Criss's solo album, it would have been a better solo album, but that still wouldn't have made it good.
The next one's one of my favorite all-time Kiss songs, Charisma. Gene does the writing and Howard Marks. I don't really have much on Howard Marks. And Gene does the vocals. I think what I like about this song the most is its uniqueness. It's a very unique song. It's got a great intro, cool, steady riff. I love the vibe of the song, and then it goes again with the uniqueness of it. And Gene's voice and the chorus with the fadeaway harmony is really, really cool throughout. Again, it's a totally different style and feel song, but it's which makes it stand out for me.
2 Gene songs on this record seem to me like they are very much influenced by Gene's solo album. With that being said, I like Charisma. It's catchy. I like Gene's voice in it. I just think it's an all-around good song, and it is disco-ish. Again, it's
Definitely
disco-ish. And a lot of what I get disco out of is the keyboards, the synthesizers in it,
and the chorus too. You can add that to
and the
it.
chorus.
Yeah.
So I would love to see it without that, just to see if it sounded better or worse. But I like the song. It is not a Skippy song.
That's definitely not a Skippy song. And then you got to what I think is one of the songs on the album that is the most, maybe not the most catchy, but one that kind of sticks with you. I don't know about you. Like it just, after hearing the chorus on that, it's hard to get it out of your head. Magic Touch. Paul does the writing. He does the vocals on it. What I have for that is it's cool. Definitely another disco vibe song. The opening is a really cool riff to it. The band harmony and of course, right from the beginning is really good. And I really like the overall arrangement of this production wise, I think is really, really good.
This is the only Paul song that I get an influence from his solo record. I don't know. It's not something that I can maybe put into words, but I just feel like this song was influenced by his solo record. It's one
actually
of the best songs on the record.
That's a good take, actually. I like that.
It does. I have to admit, I listened to the record again this morning before we started filming this, and the chorus is playing in the background in my head still. Charisma and Magic Touch are fighting each other for which one's going to run through my brain today, I guess. They're fighting it out.
But it's how you know it's a good song, right? Because it stays with you. And the next one now is one of my favorite all-time Ace Frehley songs. I like the messaging and I like the story of it. Hard Times. To me, this is very Ace being his very authentic self. It's a great vocal. It's a really introspective lyrically about growing up in the city and hard times and wanting to completely remove himself from that. And how the hard times made him strong. I like the attitude that he puts through with the vocals. It's actually a very underrated song for me. I really, really like that song.
I was just going to say it may be Ace's most underrated song. I really, really like this song. And the other thing I like about the song is, the spaceman routine, and I've said this about Gene before. The spaceman routine gets a little old to me. It gets a little monotonous. It's just like the Shock Me thing. Like Kiss as a band and the members of seem to go back to what works too many times. So if you think about Peter, We had a big hit with Beth, so we have to create the next Beth. I don't think it works that way. Ace, we have Shock Me, so we have to go to different versions of Shock Me, not necessarily in the music
The character.
and the theory of the song. What I like about Hard Times is it completely removes himself from any character.
Yeah, it like that's what really, it's probably one of my favorite written songs of Kiss, because this shows the essence of who Paul Fraley is.
Yeah.
Right. It's the kid that grew up in the hard times on the street, not the spaceman, not the character. It's about
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, you get old. It's one of the things that I like the best about Ace's solo album is he branched out into different subjects. Rip It Out, Speeding Back to My Baby, even the cover song New York Groove. He went other places.
He wasn't pigeonholed by the character.
Right. I think in Gene, Peter, and Ace's case, they wanted to go back to almost character-driven songs too much. I've made mention of it before. Oh, Peter's the balladeer. We have to put a ballad on this record, so Peter's going to sing it. No. Like, I'm going to use your word. Let it happen organically.
I know, my favorite word. I like
let
that.
it happen. But seriously, let it happen organically. And I think they would have been better off.
I think it's human nature, though, right? I think most people, you're a victim of your success, right? If something worked and all of a sudden now you're kind of flailing a little bit, you try to go back to that lane that worked before. And like you said, sometimes maybe it's overblown, but you become a victim of your success.
Yeah, but look at these 3 Ace songs on this record. I think these are.
I love them.
I think these are 3 very good Ace songs, and they are, let's say, out of Ace's comfort zone. I think to the fans, they look at space travel songs, electricity songs, for lack of a better term, as Ace's comfort zone. Ace's new record, 10,000 Volts, probably one of my least favorite songs on that record is 10,000 Volts. Because as soon as I look at it, I go, oh, we're going to sing about electricity again. I'm okay. Maybe the best explanation is it comes across to me as manufactured.
Yeah.
I can tell you 100% that's what my problem became with Peter. Is I feel like at a certain point his songs, whether they were with Kiss or solo, became what seemed to me to be manufactured songs. Like, hey, this is my sound, this is what I do. And look, in some cases it's a home run. Hard Luck Woman is a damn grand slam home run to me.
Absolutely.
I Can't Stop the Rain is another home run to me. But that's 2 songs.
The only thing I wanted to add to that was that, any successful band, they have a formula, right? They have what their formula for what makes them what they go to. Like, they may write stuff but they have a formula for how they're laying stuff down. But sometimes you still want to try to keep some layers of originality throughout it. And if you just, that's why a lot of times I think when bands actually, they're under the gun and they got to throw stuff out, they can do it relatively quick because they just kind of make a few changes and just put something down. And like you said, when it's manufactured, it's not going to touch the masses. It's not going to be substantial.
Look, you say this all the time. Kiss is my favorite band. Even the songs that I don't like, I love. They're my favorite band.
It's it's funny how you say that, but it's true.
I'm harder on them than I am on any other band.
That last thing you said, you need to make that a soundbite because that was really, really well said.
It's my Yogi Berra routine.
I like
Okay?
that. Yeah, I like that.
Even
a
the
lot.
songs that I don't like, I love. I don't want
Yeah.
an album's worth of songs
Well, you're
about electricity unless the words of the song are going to tell me how I get to lower my electric bill.
it
And
makes it
then I'm cool with an electricity song. I don't want to hear another electricity song out of Ace Frehley for the rest of my life. I'm tired of it. He got shocked in like 1977. He has shocked me. Let's move on.
it makes it all it's like watering down the electricity is what basically
Yes.
the way you're describing it. And in some sense of the word, who's the spaceman? Who's the one you'd expect to get electrocuted? Like in a way, it is the epitome of what the spaceman character is. But I 100% understand where you're coming from. But there's one
And
thing there's one thing I want to just point out or put out there to the hooligans before we get to the next song. Again, this is all opinions, right? And we have a lot of really strong takes on how we feel, but we're not saying that, it's how we feel. We're right for how we feel. But if you have opinions out there and you hear something again that you don't really see it the same way, throw it out there because this is the hooligan community, it's Hooligan Nation. We want your input. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I just wanted to answer your question of water and electricity just don't mix. That's all.
Ooh. So the next song is X-Ray Eyes, written by Gene and sung by Gene. I put it's a nice groove. I love the chorus. Gene leads into the band harmony vocal. I like on it. Again, it's a nice groove. It's another. It's not a skip. It's another good song. I like it.
It's not a Skippy song. I like it too. It's it's a little nondescript for me. I don't really have much to say about it, but I like the song. I
All
like
right.
the song. It's a good song. I don't skip it.
Which brings us to the last song, number 9 song, Save Your Love. That is written by Ace and sung by Ace. What I noticed really well on this is you got backing vocals in the harmony, but only with Paul. Gene's not on it. So you got it's a cool vocal with attitude from Ace. And there's also a part in this song that kind of like stands out for me. There's like a vocal kind of like talking leading into a really sweet guitar solo. Another great song. Again, this was a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to doing this review for a while. So what do you got for Save Your Love?
I think it's a great Kiss breakup song. and it goes back to my pulpit. It's a relatively new subject for Ace, which is refreshing to me. Hard Times, Save Your Love. 2000 Man is a quirky, fun Ace song. Hard Times is just a good song. Save Your Love is just a good song. You can't put it in a box. And I think those are the songs that I like the most, is the songs that you can't put in the box. Yeah, and you can just keep going on. I mean, I could just go on for days. When it comes to Ace, Rock Soldiers, Into the Night, Never Too Young to Die. Uh, I, I mean, I can just keep going. They're songs that you can't put in the Ace Frehley manufactured box.
I got 2 final things that I wanted to. One is on your point about the electricity thing, and with Ace and that's played out. How much of that do you think is part of his lack of motivation at times, and just throwing something out there?
It very well may be. I mean, at this point in Ace's career, I'm pretty sure that he could probably write a song that has to do with electricity or space travel in his sleep. So, I think it more comes with popularity. I think it more comes with a persona. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what the people want. And he very well may be right that the masses want to hear a different version of Shock Me 300 different times. Unfortunately, for me, I'm not the masses. If you gave Ace a Spice Girls song, he could turn a Spice Girls song into an Ace Frehley song. I just don't want him to be singing the Spice Girls song about electricity or space travel at this point.
All right. So I didn't get a specific concert. I got like what they consider the typical set list for that tour. Again, they called that tour the Return of Kiss. That was what it was labeled as. The first song was King of the Nighttime World, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, then Move On from Paul's solo album. Calling Dr. Love was the fourth one. Then Firehouse, New York Groove, I Was Made for Loving You, Christine 16, 2000 Man, Love Gun, God of Thunder, Shout It Out Loud, Black Diamond. Then they start their encore with Detroit Rock City, Beth, and then wrap it up with Rock and Roll All Night for the set list.
I think that's a great set list. I could have done without did you say there was a Peter solo album song?
No, Paul's. They did Move On at the third song, Move On, which isn't a bad song. It's not a bad song.
No.
But yeah, they probably could have done with that for a live concert. They probably could have did a different one on that.
I like the set list though. All right, stage show. Kiss fans, don't go crazy on me. It always looked to me like it was a disco inspired stage show. With that being said, I love the stage show of Dynasty, the white and black, the ramps, the contrast in the amps all over the place, the two platforms at the top, the fact that the drums look like they were enveloped into the stage. It's up there for me in like the Destroyer Love Gun stage show. Let's say my top three is probably Destroyer Love Gun stage show, Dynasty stage show, and Creatures of the Night stage show is probably my three favorite. And if somebody would allow me to design a stage, I would probably take elements from all three of those. And if we do this long enough, I might actually develop a stage somehow to try to create what's in my head. But I love to watch Dynasty concerts off of YouTube because I like the stage show. They did some different things. For anybody that doesn't know, the Dynasty concert starts with Ace on the middle of the stage by himself doing a guitar sound. So they did things a little differently. Yeah, it's a good if you were unlucky like we were. I mean, 1979, I was 5, so I wasn't at the show. But if you didn't get to see Kiss live in 1979 for the Dynasty show, YouTube video of the Dynasty tour, it's definitely worth it to me, just because of the stage show and the set list, the two good things. So that's all I got for that.
All right.
So to wrap this all up in a nice, neat package, what do you think?
Well, again, I think I made it known how much I like this album. To sum it up, though, it's an interesting album for me, also because it was known as a disco album, which I think songs like Hard Times may have gotten lost with how good a song it is. Because it was kind of grazed over and labeled a certain way. You know, sometimes you can label certain things and you don't really, give it a chance. And I think there's a lot of good songs on this album by all four members.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty amazing the turmoil that the band was in. The fact that the producer did not want the drummer to play drums on the record. They brought an outside drummer in. The fact that they put out a record this good at that time is really a big credit to them. Coming off of 4 solo albums where 2 were completely unsuccessful and 1 was marginally successful, and then there was Aces. It's almost a comeback record, and it's a very good comeback record. So I think it's a great all around Kiss record. Look, too much disco for me. The sound a little too much, but you definitely see that the worm is turning. Ace knows he's the star, and Ace has 3 songs on this record. Paul has 3 songs on this record. They were 3 good songs. I think Ace's songs absolutely belong on this record. I think they were 3 good songs. To me, the weakest song on this record is the Peter Criss song. That's my least favorite song on the entire record is Dirty Livin'. And I like it, but it's probably my least favorite song. I don't know. I dig Dynasty. I always have.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, don't lose your thought, but that's the other thing too. Like, I think one of the reasons I like this album so much is I personally can't pick. I like every song. So like if you tell me what's one I can do it out, I like Dirty Living a lot too. Like that's why I was like, my first take when I started listening to Dirty Living again is, why didn't he make a solo album with this stuff, with this song, with this style song throughout?
Well, but I agree with you. I would have preferred Dirty Living to be on the solo album. It would have upped it a level. But like I said earlier, that's not saying much. Look, I don't know that I can choose between I Was Made for Loving You, Sure Know Something, Magic Touch, Charisma, X-Ray Eyes, Hard Times, Save Your Love. I like them pretty equally, and I think that they're all pretty important to the album altogether. And look, let me say this, because this needs to be said. There is not a stinker on this album. They're all not even, but there's no rock and roll party on Dynasty. So,
the last thing I'll say is I think the one thing with Peter, and this has nothing to do with Dynasty, but just in general, there's like you want to empty your tank if you're driving, whatever. What do you want to empty your tank? I feel like the stuff was left in there. I wanted to hear more Black Diamond. I wanted more songs like Black Diamond. If there's something that I feel like that was left on the table, it was more songs like Black Diamond from Peter.
Yep, and I'll go on record as blaming Beth being such a hit as one of the reasons why we may have not gotten another Black Diamond.
Really way to tie that up. I like that.
If you liked this episode, we're going to throw another episode up here somewhere. So check that out. And thank you all for coming out and checking us out. Thank you for supporting us. And with that all being said, remember, if it's too loud, you are too old. Peace out.